Welcome, YouTube audience. This is my E36 beater M3 seat car thing. Some people would call it a missile car. Some people would call it a crap car. I call it a seat time car, I guess. I was just gonna show you some things on it real quickly. It's kind of my ultimate seat time car right now. I've been using scrub 265s on it. Oh, let's back up and talk about what an ultimate seat time car is. An ultimate seat time car, this is Jason's, what he thinks he's building into an ultimate seat time car, which is a JZ and all this other stuff. So, but the concept of an ultimate seat time car is, A, it needs to be able to stay on track as long as possible. You should hopefully get through an entire tank of gas, and not because you have a 3-gallon fuel cell, in one session, so you can do 50 or 60 laps at a time. It needs to be cheap to operate so that you're not going broke operating the thing. So like, if your car costs $200 a lap because you're going through race fuel and you're going through, you know, a set of tires every 2 laps, that doesn't scale. You can't go do 50 laps every session or 100 laps a day or 200 laps a weekend. It just doesn't work. So it means the car must do a lot of laps on one set of tires, one tank of gas without being worked on. It needs to be really reliable, meaning the car can't require a lot of maintenance between laps. You can't be checking air pressure in tires. You can't be filling it up with gasoline. You can't be checking boost couplers. You can't be checking plugs. You can't be fixing things falling off the car. You can't have fiberglass aero most likely in big body kits. Can't have tires that need to be changed constantly. Can't have leaks or anything. It needs to be a really, really simplistic car. It needs to be within your mechanical ability to run without a team or anything. So you can't have an overly complicated car. So this is my E36 missile car, seat time car, whatever you want to call it. And let's look around real quick. That's an SR20 little tiny pickup truck thing on the dyno. So I'm gonna show you why this thing is so good and a bunch of GoPro video as we go along. And also in person here. So the only things that make a big difference on this car and make it work really well are, it is a S52 M3, meaning it's not a 325i or something like that. So it starts off with 240 horsepower, and how it is right now with an RK tune, a little bit of exhaust work, a bigger filter, and I think that's all the mods to this thing, drivetrain wise, except maybe a clutch, is going to probably put down about 200 wheel to maybe 210 wheel. Don't quote me on that. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm guessing. I don't spend a lot of time, even though we have a dyno here, looking at numbers on this thing or anything. We literally could show him a dyno sheet. So the drivetrain is super simple. It does have a new head gasket in it, but the point is it needs to turn on like a stock vehicle, not overheat, not blow, couplers of some kind, not require maintenance all the time. It needs to run for thousands and thousands and thousands of miles on track without any effort. So that's really important. So I picked a car that has a good drivetrain from the factory that works, has a manual transmission that's not some swap thing, so it doesn't have all kinds of weird parts going on. I have an angle kit on here, which is an SLR speed angle kit, which gives the car lots of angle, and it means the car works really well as a drift car, and you can be very playful and throw it really hard and have a lot of fun. I have a bunch of leaks up here that I'm fixing right now, but for the most part, that means the car is really fun to drive, and
Look at this.
I think it has more angle than that.
What is this?
What?
Just like RTV.
Don't look inside my things, Patrick.
This isn't even a coupler.
Just fix them. Just fix them. Don't judge. And then the magic of this car is back here. I tested a bunch of different tire combos and stuff, and the longest lasting tire, and why this thing works so well as a seat time car, is we're using heat cycled scrubs in a 265/35 18 at whatever air pressure I need to make this thing drift at. And from the perspective of if this thing was on a 215 or 225, it could spin the tire better. But that tire has way less rubber in it than a 265. And with the weight of the car and everything, it's gonna wear that tire down really fast. The car is probably gonna drift great on it and everything, but the tire wear will be really bad, and you'll overheat the tire and kill it and probably delam it and everything. And that's how a lot of these tires die. Unless it's like a KR20. I was testing on some Westlakes and land sales and other things, but the KR20s are kind of magic a lot of the time. But what the secret of this is I'm taking a heat cycled scrub, which is a 265 off my V8 car, and I'm putting it on here. That gives us more rubber and more ability to dissipate heat because it's a bigger tire and all this junk. And somehow this crazy math means this car gets probably about 50 to 60 laps on a set of used tires like this, whereas it was only getting 10 to 15 laps on a set of brand new off-brand tires before it would delam them in weird ways. So this means I get almost a full tank of gas out of one set of scrubs. I'm getting these scrubs from myself for free because they're already too dead to run on the V8 car. Because it's right on the verge of cording them and everything. I take them off with, 10% left or 20% tire life left, and then toss them on this thing. So I was taking about 20 laps in the V8 car, and then like another 50 laps all on the same set of tires, which was crazy. I'm replacing the back lights. Don't pay attention to that. I did strip it out and everything more. Well, I got it mostly stripped out, but I stripped it out even more, trying to get the thing as light as possible. I wasn't even running a passenger seat, which is a first for me because I always run a passenger seat because it's more fun to drift with passengers. This thing is super simple. It's just a handbrake extension from NerpTech and a little shifter piece, shift knob, and a steering wheel and a seat so I don't flop around in the car, and more stuff removed and everything. It would be preferable not to have a sunroof car, but that's okay. This doesn't even close. Windows go up and down, which is nice. I would suggest not taking the windows out of your car, trying to make your car super lightweight, because then you can't store it outside. And then wide body to make sure everything fits underneath the fender, so you can run gigantic 265s on a car that has no business running 265s. And that's about it. So I guess I've rambled a bunch on this video, but it really is important to try and get as many laps in drifting as possible and to have the most fun as possible and all these things, and keep up with your friends and have cars that work with your friends and stuff. And this car works pretty well. Patrick over here drives an S13 with an SR20 in it, and he kind of showed me the life of the scrub life. Patrick has been driving very successfully for how many years? 3 or 4 or 5, 6 years?
6 years almost now.
6 years. And the past few years, you haven't even purchased a tire, have you?
Very rarely, but yeah, for the last 3 years I've driven on just scrubs mainly. And
you got 2nd or 3rd place in street legal?
Yeah, a few times now.
Oh God! But the point is he's having a great time. How many laps do you get in an event?
I drive both days. I bring about 6 sets of scrubs, use
6 sets of scrubs or 6 tires?
6 tires, 6 scrubs total. Mm-hmm. And I'll drive, all day, both days. Probably do about 30 to 40 laps a day, maybe.
That's
just
it?
Depends. Just depends on some things, yeah.
I guess that's
more.
60 to 80 laps per weekend, do you think?
Yeah.
And you have a car that, how fast does it kill those scrubs?
Not very fast. Well, it all depends on driving style too. If you are just foot down the whole time in 3rd gear, just roasting tires, and you're gonna kill them. But if you are smart about it and know how to modulate throttle and stuff and try to be easy, you can make you can get a lot of laps in.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. There we go. And he doesn't have a main car besides his seat time car, so he just gets tons of laps in that. And let's take a look at this real quick. This is Jason Stacy's seat time car. Your main car is like a 500 wheel S14 2J CD09, all that stuff.
It's pretty silly. It goes through a lot of tires, and so that's been kind of the focus with this build in particular. I want to keep it around 300 wheel or so, maybe a little bit less. Just something that I can have, decent power, run some smaller tires on, get a whole bunch of seat time, and actually do kind of like what Aaron's doing, which is take the scrubs off of my other car and then put on here. So
I want your scrubs. Don't put them on here.
That way, I can still tandem with Aaron.
How many laps do you normally get out of your big 2J car? Out of a set of tires?
Out of a set of tires, it really depends. If I go ham, I can roast a set of tires in probably 3 laps.
Yeah.
If I'm very conservative, I'll typically get about 15 to 20 laps if I'm really conservative. And so, I'm kind of wanting to mock up and go back to what my Japan car is, just a simple 2J, running 235s on the back. And hopefully they'll see if I can get like 1 million laps out of a set of tires.
Well, you're not going to be running 235 scrubs, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess not. Huh?
No, you're going to be running 265 scrubs. So one of the things is like I said, a 235 is going to last significantly less time because it has less surface area to dissipate the heat, and then also has less rubber in it. I'm not sure what the ratio of why certain things work so well. And then you can raise or lower the tire pressure to try and get the correct amount of grip so the car can actually drift and push through it. Now in this car at Mineral Wells, I was running all the way down to about 12 PSI in the rear tires as they would get dead. So I would start off at maybe 20 and then go down as the tire got super dead to consistently have the same amount of grip in the car. And it seemed to work really well. What else? It's really important to have bumpers that won't get knocked off by a cone. Now it literally looks like this thing will get knocked off by a cone right now. But you can see that this bumper I've been dragging it against walls and stuff. And it's taken multiple hits to kind of like chew through it a little bit like that. And it's kind of done a little bit of damage to the back of the chassis, or at least whatever is going on right here. It allows you to not knock bumpers off and to stay on track a lot longer. And if you're a drifter that knocks bumpers off and stuff, you'll understand that. A long time ago, here, I'll show you this real quick. If I go over here, I've tried to build an ultimate tire life. Oh my God, stock S13 seats. Where do you even get these? I built this car forever ago. This is my old, it's like the second ever V8 S13 LS car. And it weighs probably, when it had the SR in it, not much. You're so far off on that. It weighed 2,500 with an LS. As it sat here, I would say it was about 2,350. Hey, somebody broke out my window. What the heck? Yeah, somebody broke out my quarter glass. Like it shattered? Yeah. That sucks. Yeah, now there's glass all over the place. Now I'm sad. Anyways, this car was super duper light, but it wasn't reliable enough because I was throwing rocker arms in it. I was going to try and use this car as my ultimate lightweight car that had crazy tire life. I was going to try and get it down to like 2,200 pounds, but I was having reliability issues. And then the Corvette is just kind of too heavy to play that game, and it makes like 480 wheel. So it's a fantastic drift car, but it's just not going to get crazy good tire life. It's just kind of too much power and too much weight to play that game. But then you're just enjoying like having a real fast car. And while we're in here, look at this thing. I walked by this in the shop earlier today. LS7, supercharged. It says Hennessy on it. I don't know what's up with that. I expect this thing is super fast. So if anyone has a better seat time car, I want to hear about it. Please in the comments tell me.
It's me.
Oh, you think you do?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, so if you have a car that gets more than 50 laps out of a set of free tires, let me know. I'm sure the Corolla guys will be like,
a free set of scrubs.
yeah, we'll send you a free set of 265 scrubs. But, oh, that's actually a good troll. We'll give you all the scrubs you, no, those are mine. if you have a car that gets better seat time than this, let me know. Because I actually am always curious about what is the best seat time car. In Japan, it's my JZX100, but that functions with like, I just had to buy an R154 for it, which is a small price to pay considering how many laps I got out of the thing. But that thing has done 9,500 kilometers at Ebisu. That's a pretty good one. Gets pretty good tire life. It'd be really cool if I ran it on 265 scrubs or something. I didn't have to buy tires. I wonder if that's a thing. You think yours is better or mine?
Definitely mine, 100%. What?
No, I mean, yours has required an SR this year.
What? This is not what it's about.
It requires a body kit every year. And fenders. Right?
Yeah.
But I spend more than that in tires sometimes in like 2 events. Which one's better?
The BMW, as far as cost-wise, probably is better.
You think so?
Yeah.
Which is cooler?
Definitely my car.
100% your car? That's what he thinks. Nah, it is. Maybe if I put a paint job on this thing.
Do you think it would be cost effective to ship scrubs to Japan?
Cost effective to ship a container of scrubs?
Container of scrubs.
You know how much that would piss everybody off there? We just show up with a whole container of like trash tires. Oh my God. You know what's crazy is when I first got into drifting, a lot of people were using like 15-inch scrubs and stuff like that, old tires, and it just doesn't work with old tires that are not fresh. So the secret of this...
They have to be Kendas.
Yeah.
Like, everything else is
Say that again?
They have to be Kendas. Like everything else just delams immediately.
Yeah.
Even I've tried like Michelin's, Continentals, everything. Falcons, they all just delam immediately. And they're like icy slick. The Kendas have like consistent grip all the way until steel belt.
Yeah.
And then they have that, what I call steel belt magic, where you just do like 30 more laps on steel belt sparking.
Yeah. That's one of the problems is, as I've tried to do seat time cars in the past, there's always a problem. I did a Corolla seat time car. The tires weren't as cheap as you would think for little 15s, and it just couldn't tandem with people. Like, the car has to tandem with people for it to be usable. I did my SR car, but the SR car was too much maintenance and stuff at times. It got to be a pain. And, I ended up putting on E85 and all that stuff. The car needs to run on 93, so it's not a pain in the butt. Jason's going to make too much power, and it's just going to destroy tires because it makes a lot of torque. I think having not a lot of torque like the BMW helps. It's a bunch of things stacked together. So if you have
drive shaft.
2-piece drive shaft, I think that probably an IS300 could maybe work, but the car is too heavy. Like, it would be great to get a car down to say 2,500 pounds.
Like these make more power than IS300s. Like they're just kind of slow.
Yeah, it's because these cars are better.
Yeah, this thing is fast the way it is. That's what's great about them. Because
I would not call this car fast.
It's like 350Z fast.
Oh, you know what? 350Zs don't do this, though. They don't work that well on scrubs like this, do they?
No, I don't think so.
Why is that?
Probably because of the weight.
Yeah, but this car from the factory weighs the same amount. Although I would think it weighs 2,800 how it sits. What do you think?
It's heavy. I don't know.
Maybe 29?
I don't know BMWs.
Well, it has no passenger seat. It has no interior. It's missing a lot of parts. But then...
It still seems weird that 350Z would be heavier than this car.
This thing is stronger than you would think. Should put it.
Oh, I broke the car.
I kind of thought you would. You hit it a few more times.
Okay.
Let's see. I think it's... Oh, wait. You moved it like 2 millimeters.
That's
Press down a little bit.
I think that's pretty solid there, bro. I think you got it.
Shall we hit it like 2 more times?
If you want to.
Yeah. That's another thing about a seat time car. You should be able to fix accidents and stuff with a hammer. So parts are super cheap for this thing. You know, taillights are, I think, like 40 bucks a piece or something like that. Headlights are like 40 bucks a piece. Corner lights are super cheap. You want a car with a lot of inexpensive parts. Because how much is your body kit for your car?
Like $2,000, I think.
What?
$2,000, yeah.
What kind of body kit is it?
The Origin Type 2.
Oh, how much are your fenders?
Like $350, $400, something like that.
Per end of the car.
What do you mean?
Like 600 bucks for all 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the body work is. Do you have a stock hood?
I do have a stock hood.
Okay, but that's still almost $3,000 after shipping for just body stuff.
And you
it
have to
could
wait
be-
for it to come from Japan for like 3 months.
And it could be
sometimes.
broken in one cone, all of it.
Oh
literally.
yeah, completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Completely.
Ugh.
Yeah.
All right. 30 minutes into E36 and chill, Patrick has the corner light installed on one side, and things are starting to go back together. Is this zip ties or bolts, or what are you using?
Bolts.
Bolts.
Bolts, baby.
That's the ultimate. He has another one in, and I had to use a block and wood. Uh-oh, where's my light? The back of the car, I had to hit this whole area a lot with a hammer to get a taillight back in. But it now looks like a car a little bit more. Beautiful.